Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Pickleball Crew. We are a group of pickleball fanatics based in Southeast Louisiana and are passionate about all things pickleball everywhere. Our focus is to inform, acknowledge those who help build the game regionally, and promote tournaments in our area. We do our best to present this with a love of the sport, a sense of humor, and a lot of fun. So join Vicki Wynn, Ken Wynn, Jeff Fuchsia, and me, Bud Klein, in our latest episode. We are glad you are along for the ride. In this episode, Ken will start us off with his review and updates of local tournaments. Then the crew will welcome a special guest, Johnny Venezia, to the podcast. Johnny was one of the first people to play pickleball in Southeast Louisiana. He served as a USA Pickleball Regional Ambassador, and along with Greg Eisman, started the very popular Big Easy and Pickle in the Dell tournaments that are enjoyed by so many of us in this area. Jeff gives up his burr under his saddle to Johnny, who shares one of his own burrs under his saddle. Vicki will bring us her weekly shout out, and please be patient with us in this episode. Jeff was remote way down in Venezia, Louisiana, and actually had to drive north to get a good internet connection. On top of that, Ken and Vicki had an internet issue at their house, and Vicki bounced in and out a few times. But stay with us, it should still be a fun episode. The crew's all here. As you can see, joining us today is Johnny Venezia. But as always, we're going to start hot off the press. It's time for Ken's review of local tournaments. Great, thanks, Bud. We are in the middle of pickleball season. There's a lot of tournaments going on right now. A lot of tournaments within a short drive. Matter of fact, the first weekend in November, we have 4 tournaments. One is that's going to be November 3rd through 5th. That's the Louisiana State Games in Monroe, Louisiana. There's mixed doubles, women's doubles, and men's doubles. The medalist will qualify for the 2024 State Games of America. That's the Nationals in San Diego, California. Registration closes October 27th. So you may only have a day or two once this recording gets out to register. The same weekend in Greenwood in Baker, Louisiana, is the Louisiana Senior Games. Again, we'll have a URL at the bottom. That's November 4th and 5th. The same weekend in New Orleans is the 9th annual tennis and pickleball fundraiser for Raphael Village. The patron party will be Thursday, November 2nd. Play will be on the 3rd and 4th of November. This will be at the City Park Tennis Center and Pickleball Courts. We'll put the URL at the bottom of the screen to register. The 4th tournament, which we've been promoting, is November 3rd through 5th at Canebrake. I'm going to caution here because I've been checking pickleballbrackets.com and there are 0 players registered. We have been promoting this tournament. I would contact the tournament director and find out if they're keeping track somehow differently or if there's been some changes to the tournament before proceeding. But that's the Canebrake in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, which is also November 3rd through 5th. I would check first before registering. The following weekend, and last Monday, we promoted this tournament for the first time. It's the Battle for the Paddle at Pelican Park in Mandeville, Louisiana. This is a fundraiser for the Lakeshore High School Athletics. Registration will close October 29th. It's $35 for event. It's gender doubles in the morning, mixed doubles in the afternoon. There's all levels from 2.5 to 4.0 plus. Sounds like it's going to be a great tournament. We wish them well. And again, that's for Lakeshore High School at Pelican Park, and that's November 11th. The same weekend is the Tom Burkhart Magnolia Classic. This will be at W.O. Lott Park in Daphne, Alabama. Registration closes October 28th. There's already over 100 people registered. It's an MMP event, which is Medal Match Plus, which means all finals and some of the semifinals will have a referee. Go to pickleballbrackets.com to register. The following weekend, back in Greenwood at Baker, Louisiana, is the Share Your Spare. This is for the Louisiana Kidney Foundation. Registration closes November 7th for this tournament. We're going to put the URL at the bottom of the screen as well. I don't know how many people are registered, but I just checked the website and couldn't get that information. December 1st through 3rd, the second annual Boys Ranch Christmas Classic. This year it'll be at Fritchie Park Gym. That's in Slidell, Louisiana. On Friday is open play and a social. Saturday is gender doubles. Sunday will be mixed doubles. Go to pickleballbrackets.com. There's 39 people already registered. This should be a lot of fun. It's for a great cause. Look, last year the boys from the Boys Ranch hand painted the medals, the awards, and they're doing it again this year. And that's a keepsake in itself. Along with, they do a great job on the goodie bag. So I would look at registering for that one. It's going to be indoors. They'll have 8 indoor courts available for play. See, the following weekend, December 9th and 10th, is the second annual YMCA Pickleball Invitational in Zachary, Louisiana at the YMCA. It's a USAP sanctioned event. Chase Rigdon is the host. Registration has opened, and they're starting to get some numbers registered for that one. So it should be a lot of fun. The following weekend, December 15th through 17th, is the Pickle Jazz Pickleball Tournament back at Greenwood in Baker, Louisiana. This is $35 for 2 events. We're going to put the URL at the bottom of the screen. We're looking forward to hearing more about that one. The last weekend in December, December 30th, is called the Krewe Collision. We still don't have more information. We don't have a location, but as soon as we find out, we'll let you know. Quickly, for 2024, save the dates. February 27th through March 3rd, paddles at the Plex. Registration opens December 18th. That's in Opelika, Alabama. March 22nd through 24th, Pickle in the Dell at Crossgates in Slidell, Louisiana. That's always been a fun one, and they've done a great job from when it was indoors to now being outdoors at the Crossgates. So that's one that all the locals and people drive from Baton Rouge and the Gulf Coast to play in that one. So look forward to that. March 29th and 30th, Alabama Open, Clay, Alabama. And finally, April 12th through 14th, this is the Young Life Organization and USM Wesley Foundation. It's the Hattiesburg, Mississippi tournament. Marlena Mims is putting it on. Friday night is open play and family night. Saturday is gender doubles. Sunday is mixed doubles. Go to pickleballbrackets.com. For a tournament that's over 5 months away, there's already 54 people registered, so we're looking forward to hearing more about that one and playing in it as well. If you have any updates or want to send me more information on your tournament, we'll have my email address at the bottom of the screen. So that's it. Back to you, Bud.
Ken, thanks for that update on the local tournaments. As I said earlier, we're welcoming Johnny Venezia to the podcast today. Johnny actually got me started in pickleball, and he introduced me to it. I know he's been playing a long time, and I know the crew's got some questions for him, so I'll turn it over to the crew.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being with us.
Johnny, it's always a pleasure having you and speaking with you. Tell us, what year did you start playing, and how did you get started in pickleball?
Well, actually, we started in 2008 at Crossgates. I happened to be at the gym one day, and someone came up to me and said, "Don't you play tennis?" I said, "Yes, I do." They said, "We have someone coming over to show us a new game that we think you might be interested in." And they came over, brought the nets. It was Linda. She came over, she brought the nets, and 2 other guys came with her. We set everything up in the gym, got a few of my tennis buddies to come play, and we just ran with it from there. And so we've been playing for 15 years. October was 15 years.
Wow.
So, love it. Love every minute of it.
So back then, how many places were there besides the Crossgate gym? I mean, where did you have anybody playing anywhere else in the North Shore of New Orleans area?
No, not at all. We had to go to play in tournaments. We had to go quite a ways to do it. And the tournaments that we played in had maybe 150 to 200 people. Now have 2,000 people playing in those same tournaments. So it took us a long time to be able to get tournaments together because we didn't have a lot of people playing. And on North Shore, we had nobody. Crossgates was the first place we played at. And that's why we were all so good. We were better than everybody else because we were the only ones playing. But Baton Rouge came up with a good group, and then Lafayette came in with a good group. And as we all know, it is what it is now.
What was your first tournament that you played in?
Probably Mid-South. We used to have it at the Castine Center, actually, right there in Mandeville.
Really, the Mid-South?
Yes. Every year it was at the Castine Center. And then they decided to move it to Monroe. And then I think we had it in Dallas. But I think probably it was at the Castine Center around 2009. No, I'm sorry. I played in a tournament in Baton Rouge before that, right after I started playing, and actually played singles, doubles. Didn't play mixed doubles, but I played singles and men's doubles. But that would have been my first one. And it was right after we started. It wasn't very long after we started. John Breen was the only other person that I knew that was playing besides Linda. So wasn't that many people around here playing.
I remember, Johnny, when I first started, the only other place besides Crossgate was the Lutheran Church in Covington.
Yes.
You played there. Tell us about your experience as an ambassador.
Well, I started the ambassador program, kind of got started after I did. And we signed up to be an ambassador. A whole bunch of people did. And then about 2 years later, I became an ambassador almost instantly after I started playing. And about 2 years later, Tom Burkhart, who was our regional director at the time, Tom called me and said, USA Pickleball is going to start a new program, and we're going to have a district ambassador that covers the whole state, and asked me if I would be interested in doing it. So I said, sure. So that's what I started doing it. And basically, our job as an ambassador, we're all ambassadors. Everybody that plays this game is an ambassador for the game, because you, just like this podcast, you're constantly talking about pickleball. And I wear, as you can see, I wear pickleball shirts everywhere I go. I have to be told by someone not to wear a pickleball shirt at certain times. But we just basically promote the game. And I, as a district ambassador, would answer questions that maybe one of my ambassadors, we had 28 ambassadors throughout the state of Louisiana. And it was just me being here to answer questions, to help them with different things, because I've been doing it longer than anybody else. And, but that's basically your role as an ambassador, to help other people, but also to promote the game of pickleball. And that's what I love doing.
And surely as the game grew, a lot of places popping up. I know that they use the ambassadors a lot as a resource to try to help direct people where they can play for the times and days and places, especially visitors coming to the area.
Right. Well, there used to be on the USA, at the time it was the USAPA website, of places to play. And I don't know if they do it anymore, but we used to have to, every year, that was one of Tom's big pet peeves. Every year we had to, all your ambassadors had to put all of their places to play in your area, just for the reason Vicki said. If someone comes into town and wants to play pickleball, all they had to do was go to that website and say, hey, Crossgate says pickleball on such and such a day. You put the times. But now there's so many places to play that I don't think they can keep up with that anymore. I think it's probably too big for them to be able to, I say them, for anybody to be able to keep up with it anymore, because you have so many places now. But that was one of the resources that we used to get people to know where we play. And it worked out very well for a while. But again, we grew so fast that I don't think we can do it anymore. So,
right. And there's so many apps that you use on your phone. There's so many apps you can use on your phone too that help direct you where to go when you're traveling, where to play. And
yep, because I've used it myself quite a few times. We travel, as y'all know, we travel a lot, and I try to play almost everywhere we go. I bring my paddles with me, no matter whether we're on the ship or just on vacation. I bring my paddles, and I try to play as much as I can. Not as much as I can, but whenever I can, every now and then. But my paddles go with me everywhere.
So that brings up the question, where's the most unusual or the most faraway place that you did get to play?
Well, I played in Alaska earlier this year, in July, actually. And I've played in Whistler, Canada. Right down the street from our condo was a tennis facility, and they had pickleball every morning. So I'd go play just about every morning. I went out there and played, and it was in one of the big those big tent looking things, and it was cold. It was very cold. But that's probably, Alaska's probably the furthest. Now we're going to Australia in January. Hopefully get to play there. I did not get to play in Hawaii, but hoping for Australia.
Have you looked to see the status of pickleball in Australia?
I have not. I will do that when we get back. We're leaving for a cruise Friday, and when we get back from that, I'll start researching that.
That sounds awesome.
If nothing else, they'll have it on the ship. Most of the ships now have pickleball on them, almost every one of them. So even if they don't play on the ground somewhere on land, they probably have it on the ship.
Like playing on a ship.
It gets a little windy. Most of the courts where they have it are behind a big wall, so it kind of blocks the wind from coming in, but it's still windy. It just depends. We played quite a few times. We went to Greenland a couple of months ago, and the water was calm as could be. The winds weren't bad. We got to play almost every day. And every day we were at sea. We had 5 days at sea, and we got to play almost every day. So it's different, no doubt about it. And you got to change the rules a little bit. Most of the courts aren't the same size, so you have to kind of adjust the rules a little bit. But you still get to play. That's the nice thing about it. You get to play a little bit. And even if I don't play, I usually get up and go in the mornings and just do some serves or whatever by myself. So it's interesting, though, on the ship. It really is.
Bet it is.
So, Johnny.
That's one of Jeff's Burr Under His Saddle, people griping about the wind.
Yes. Well, not much you can do about that. My very first tournament, outside tournament, was paddle wheeled about 6 years ago, and it was like 40 degrees, and the wind was blowing about 40 or 50 miles an hour. And I said, "What if this is outdoor pickleball? It's not for me." But we all get used to it, and you do it. And but that was a miserable day for my very first tournament outdoors, because we played indoors up until that point. That's all we ever played was indoors. So I'd never played outdoors before, but haven't missed one since, except this year. Got to miss it this year.
So Johnny, you've worn so many different hats when it comes to pickleball. You've been an ambassador. You've just rec playing and helping people. You've been a tournament director, co-director. Where do you feel like you've both made the biggest impact in pickleball, and what has brought you the biggest joy as far as your interaction with people?
Just seeing the growth of it. And now what really impresses me is the young kids that are playing. That more than anything, we all know that pickleball was perceived as an old person sport when we first started playing. Well, that's not true anymore. I mean, yes, there was more old people playing than young people, but now that's not true. I mean, my 15-year-old grandson is out at Pelican quite a bit now playing, and he loves it. And, of course, he's been around it all his life, but there's more and more young people. And, of course, if you watch the pros, they're all young. And so it's I think that's the biggest thing. As far as my accomplishments, I would say running, as Bud, you said earlier, the Big Easy and then Pickle and Dell. Greg and I started both of those tournaments, and those two have grown as much as they have. I think that's a fairly good accomplishment, especially Pickle and Dell. Now that we're doing it outdoors, we have the availability to put more courts, and we can put more people, take more people. So I think that's two of my biggest accomplishments of playing. And I played in national tournaments. I got to Minnesota to play in a tournament and didn't win, but I can say I did it. I've played in 3 national tournaments. So those are good accomplishments too, whether you win or lose. It's good just to be there. So
yeah, it seems like, well, I know in 2022, that was pushed back from 2021, the senior nationals. Maybe it was the location of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, but it seemed easy to get into. Come 2023, pickleball filled up in about 2 weeks, and a lot of people got locked out. Was there many people playing in senior nationals 5, 8 years ago when you were first into those?
Excuse me. Yes. When we played, Greg Eisman and I played in Minnesota, that was probably the biggest, to that point, was the biggest tournament we had ever played in. And there was close to 2,000 people in it. And I mean, it was singles, doubles, mixed doubles, and every age group you could imagine. So that was a big one. We played in Dallas, but Mid-South, we played in Dallas. We had about 2,500 people in that tournament. So But way back when, like I said, when we used to be at the Castine Center or some of the other tournaments we played in, 250 people was a lot. Where now it's 2,500 people. So
wow,
yeah, it's gotten unbelievably big. And I want to tell y'all guys real quick, the reason I wore the shirt like this with no sleeves is because if I wore a shirt with sleeves and somebody sees this, they'll never know who it was.
That's funny.
Well, you can cut that out if you have to.
That's not
Oh, no.
Johnny.
Who is that guy?
See if he plays with his left hand, if it's really him.
That's right. So
I have one more question. In 15 years, evolution of paddles from what you first played with to, I mean, that's just exploded, huh? They were probably just a couple of paddle manufacturers. To maybe elaborate a little bit on the evolution of paddles in your pickleball career.
when we first started, my first paddle cost $45, and that was the top of the line paddle. And we all know now what the prices of paddles are, and the I'm not exactly sure of the make of the paddles, what they're made out of, the carbon or whatever, but the paddles today have a lot more pop in them than the paddles of 15 years ago did, for sure. But again, at the time, that was the top of the line paddles, and I still have my original paddle, but excuse me, don't use it anymore. But yeah, they've come a long, long way. And then, like anything else, the prices are going up just because of the sport being so popular now, and which is a good thing. But it gets a little expensive trying to buy paddles now. So, but the good thing is, and this is why people should sign up to be an ambassador. The good thing is, most of the paddle companies give ambassadors a good price, a good deal on their paddles. So you very seldom have to pay full price for them. Ken, I want to thank you for promoting the Lakeshore tournament. My grandson actually plays baseball for Lakeshore, so he'll benefit from that.
Good.
Good.
I don't know how good my partner's going to be, but
yeah, you'll probably have to carry him.
Well, yes, I have a question.
Go.
I know that you have been around sports a long, long time, and that you not only grew up playing sports and in high school and everything else, but you've also spent a tremendous amount of time coaching as well, coaching younger ones. And you happened to mention it yourself about younger people coming in to play this sport. And I think it is very important that we begin to recognize that this is not an old person's sport. But can you see, a direction or anything for junior pickleball programs? Because it just seems like it's difficult to get that off the ground. And I just read an article today that Texas A&M started a pickleball club, and they already have 150 members. So even the universities are not able to establish competitive programs, from what we understand, until it becomes an Olympic sport. Where do we start? Where do we begin? Does it begin at the playgrounds and it becomes a junior program there? Do we get it in schools? And can you see where that maybe can head?
well, a few years ago, we actually went to St. Margaret Mary, which is one of the Catholic grammar schools here in Slidell, and did a demonstration. Greg and I did, actually. And we ended up donating a bunch of paddles and balls to the school. We brought the net over there, and the kids absolutely loved it. They had a blast. And I'm hoping they're still playing over there. I don't think they're doing it at the high school level yet, and I wish they were. And maybe some schools are that I don't know about. But I wish they were. But I really think that's where it has to begin. Not necessarily, maybe 8th grade, somewhere around 8th grade. I mean, the kids that are younger than that can play also, obviously. But I think elementary school, towards the end of elementary school, middle school, I think the schools should be promoting it more than they are. I was really, when you said about the Olympics, I was really upset when I saw the 5 new sports that they're adding to the Olympics next year. And 24 and 28. And pickleball was not one of them. I thought by 28 it would be in there. I know they re-added baseball and softball, which I'm happy about. But some of the other sports that they did, pickleball's much more popular than some of these sports. And I was really disappointed when I saw the sports that they added and pickleball not be one of them. I think the game would explode more than we've already seen, without a doubt. So, But maybe one day. hopefully I'll be here.
Because the kids are loving it so much, but there's not, I play out at the park with a little boy who was maybe 11 or 12 years old, and he kept asking over and over again, when can I get in a tournament? I want to be in a tournament. And so it's hard to tell somebody at that age, I don't know, and I don't even know, I can't even predict when that might happen for you. So
right. I don't know. I know Terry's promoting it here at Crossgates quite a bit. She's trying to get a good group of young kids, but I'm not really sure how she's doing with that. Again, going back to my grandson, he's been playing. He was out hitting the other day with a friend of his at Pelican, and two older guys, probably in their 30s, asked him if they wanted to play. And so they played with him. I wish I'd have known their names. He would have got their names. And they actually played, and he said they had a good time. Of course, the two guys beat him, but he said they just asked him if they would play with him. And I think that's great that somebody would do that. Just take two 15-year-old kids, strangers to them, and ask them if they wanted to play. So I don't know who those guys were, but I'd like to find out because I would like to thank them for doing that.
I'm going to tell you what, speak of that, that is one good thing about Pelican Park. Nobody ever goes out to Pelican Park and doesn't get to play if they want to.
Right.
And there are always people like those two guys ready to let new people play and get a hold of the sport, which I think is really important.
Absolutely. So, but hopefully more kids, once they start doing it in school, then we'll have more young kids picking it up and playing. I mean, the pros, these guys that are pros that are only 22 years old and 23 years old, Annalie Waters is only 16 years old. They've only been playing a couple of years. Imagine if some of the kids, like my grandson, Bud's grandson, these kids that are 15, 16 years old, start playing now, how good they can be when they're in their 20s. And I just think it's great, but they need to continue playing.
Yeah, look at Taylor Garcia playing in April, and she's already, in the top 25, I think she finally made it into?
I actually saw her on TV a few weeks ago. Didn't until the tournament at Pelican. When I met her parents, I didn't know that she was from Mandeville, and then I've seen her since then. But yeah, that's great. That is awesome. The girl's a good athlete, apparently.
But yeah, she was a pretty good collegiate tennis player.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Jeff's back. Jeff, you back? There he is.
Back. I'm on the hunt.
You head up the road, Jeff?
For internet connection. And I'm sitting there. I got all kind of questions for Johnny, and I couldn't ask them all. Y'all probably done covered everything.
No, you ask away.
We'll do it again. Find your spot to sit. Well,
no, y'all don't have to do it again. I got down the road where my internet picked up the other day, and I'm fixing to pull in and get situated here. God, the things we got to do for this show.
We'll wait for you. I know it. You're amazing.
especially when you got me on here, Jeff.
I know. All right. One of the questions I had when y'all were talking way back, for us, it's been a change. I've played a lot of sports, Johnny, but do you ever remember a sport being this? I mean, it just draws you in for me like no other sport. Have you ever played another sport that does what pickleball does for you socially, physically?
Absolutely not. And I think one of the reasons is because anybody can play it. Just as we were talking before about the young kids playing it and the old guys in their 70s and 80s playing it, anybody can play it. I mean, you don't have to be a great athlete to play it. When you play baseball or football or any other sport, you have to be good. Pickleball, you can get good by, if that's the right term, just by playing. And no, I have never seen anything as popular as this and grow as fast as this game has. That's the key, how fast the game has grown. I've been telling people for 15 years how much fun this game is. And now all of a sudden people are calling me and saying, oh, I wish you'd have told me this years ago. I said, I did.
It's almost like that deal, you were country when country wasn't cool.
That's right. Exactly.
That's a good analogy, Jeff.
There is.
That's a great analogy. That was a great interview with Johnny. And Johnny, thanks a lot for being here. And now it's time for Jeff's Burr Under My Saddle.
You're a burr under my saddle. You're a thorn sticking in my side.
All right, y'all. This week, we're going to do a special deal with Burr Under My Saddle. I get a lot of tips and different stuff from people, but we've never had anybody on our show actually take over Burr Under Our Saddle. So this might start a trend. We might be having people wanting to line up to list their problems on the pickleball court. But I'm gonna turn it over to Johnny. Johnny thinks he has a good burr under his saddle. Let's hear what it is.
Well, I just believe that when you pick up a pickleball off of the court, and whether it's on your side of the court or it goes over to the other side of the court, either hand the ball to your partner or hand the ball to the opponent at the net, or hit the ball to them. Don't just drop the ball over the net or drop the ball to your own partner and make them pick it up. You've already picked it up. Why make someone else bend down and pick it up? Like we talked before, we were all seniors playing this, and there's no reason for us to be bending down more than you have to. So just that is my burr. Just pick up the ball, hand it or throw it to your partner or your opponent for that matter, and everybody will be happy.
That's a good one right there, for sure.
All right.
For sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. It's time for...
Hey, bud, I've got a shout out. All righty. My shout out today is to you, Johnny Venezia, for being with us on one hand, but on the other, I really want to shout out to you and Greg Eisman. As Bud was saying, you introduced him to pickleball. And back in the day when Ken and I were picking up the sport as well, you and Greg spent a tremendous amount of time coming out on Friday mornings. It was like a big treat for us when you guys would come out, and you mixed in with everybody. And those mornings just were really a lot of fun. And we miss having you guys out there. Of course, we miss Greg, who moved away. And but we just really want to thank you for everything that you guys did to help promote the sport, to make us feel welcome on the courts. It was a job well done. And I'll tell you that Ken and I's very first tournament was a Pickle and a Dell tournament. And so it was always very special to us. It was always so well run, and you guys just did a great job, and of course made everybody feel welcome. And
speaking of Greg, I don't know if you can read this or not, but it says Eisman, pickleball instructor. He's actually coaching pickleball in Tampa now. Got certified to teach, and that's what he's doing. And he sent me this shirt for my birthday in June. And so I figured I had to wear it today. But no, we totally enjoyed doing that. I miss our Tuesday night going out to eat dinner after playing the league at Pelican. I miss that.
yeah,
But it evolves like everything else. Things just move on. But
They do.
well, I really enjoyed that. Really did.
Johnny, I was just going to say, it's people like you that did what you did. You, Greg, Cindy Morris and them. I mean, there's several others that kind of paved the way, really, for what we're doing today. And we don't, Tom Burkhart, we don't want to forget that. And hopefully they'll see you on. We'd like to have some of those folks on with us in the future and get their story and their perspective. And I just wanted to say, from me and the crew, it's really special to me what y'all have done to help us to play this sport that we love so much.
It was my pleasure. My pleasure to be here with you guys today. I really enjoyed this. Anytime you need to fill in an ugly face, just call me.
All right, crew. Great podcast tonight. Great guest. Johnny, thanks for coming on. It's time to say goodnight. So let's say goodnight, everybody.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Good night. See you on the courts.
Hey, from the Pickleball crew, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next week. Well, that's it for this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave any comments, and please like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks again, and see you next week.